former congressional nominee and have run twice. And I'm standing up because as this gentleman asked his question, a whole bunch of women back here started to talk, get very put out, maybe just out of sorts from it. The idea that the question was, why didn't Republican women stand up and respond and answer the attacks on our nominee, or answer the idea of the war on women? And I have to just be very clear. Thousands of Republican women across the country stood up and answered that. Thank you. Republican women were not silent in this last election. We were not successful at winning the election. We can talk about all the issues that these fine women have brought up. Every one of them has been on the money. Republican women were not silent. That is not what the problem was. Women make the majority of the economic decisions in this country, make the majority of consumer decisions, healthcare decisions. Women start more small businesses. And every time and I was involved in the campaign, and every time the War on Women meme came up, we were on CNN and MSNBC and Fox Business and Fox News and every place that we could go bringing that message out. I would suggest that if there are some people in the audience or some folks out there who didn't hear the Republican women standing up and making their voices heard, perhaps part of it was that they were not listening. And we have got to continue, not just Republican women, but Republican men have got to continue to answer this idea that women don't have a voice, or that Senator Ayotte, yourself, I saw you on the news plenty of times. The problem is not that Republican women are silent, and I just want to make sure that that is not.
I don't think that's what anybody meant. Was not that Republican women weren't trying to address it. We were, but we were not getting the push out there that I think that we should have. So it's not that we weren't addressing it. I don't think anybody thinks that we purposely ignored it or thought it wasn't important. It was just hard to get in front of it, if I could. Ann.
And Sharon, I want to echo exactly what you're saying. We know surveys have been done that, in fact, talking heads on Sunday, and I'm sure that's what Joe meant, are predominantly male. The Republican women were not getting booked on the major talking heads, sometimes Fox, and we're talking about the Sunday shows, and that's really what a lot of people pay attention to, the political stuff. We also know from other surveys that when women's issues, quote unquote, are discussed, it's 80% of the pundits they're talking to are men. Yeah. They don't talk to the women. So I think he has a valid point. All of us in the room, all the rest of us in the room are political junkies. We have certain favorite outlets. We see a lot more than the average person because we look for it. But we're talking about the average person out there. They don't see it. And when they're not on the talking heads and they're not pushed out there, they don't see our people. And Republican women are tremendous. We have a tremendous history. This is something we talked about before. But speaking to the point about the war on women, they were successful because it played into a narrative that we allowed them to have over more than just the past 2 years. It's been a narrative that's been building for 10 years. They have developed this narrative that Republicans want to control women and that they don't trust women. And that's where the issue of abortion and contraception come in. Because women use it and see it as a filter that, do you trust me to control my life, whether it's valid or not? And we know from the focus groups after the 2012 election that the Republican women, or the women in the states that were key swing states where they waged the war on women, where they went in there, the Democrats waged the war on women, with the ads, the targeted states where they pounded the Republicans on this whole war on women stuff, that the women there, the issues of abortion and contraception, were higher on their list as to how they made the decision. 39% of the women made the decision based on those issues, and it wasn't about abortion and contraception. It was about control. But I had women, I was in one of the targeted states, I had women come into the precincts that I was working to tell me I have to come because the Republicans want to take my contraception away. So we do have a problem out there with getting women to understand we do trust and respect them, showing them Republican women's history and the wonderful array of Republican women we have, and getting them out there more is going to do more to solve it than anything.
Thank you.